Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I uploaded, and VCT Masters is back. We are at Copenhagen this time, and I hope I can upload more regularly. I will be doing the pro analysis of the matches that I watch on an everyday basis as much as I can. And we're going to be starting off, no bullshit whatsoever. We're going to go straight into Guild versus Optic, one of the high octane games that we saw in the very early stages of the Masters, and it's an absolute banger of a game where Guild 2-0'd Optic, and in a pretty convincing way as well, I have to say, because honestly the way that the entire situation Guild developed in both the maps that they played, Icebox as well as Split, was pretty amazing. They had such a good structure to how to counter Optic's infamous push and pull technique that they have developed, but Split was where it kind of showcased their best gameplay, especially given that this is a map that Optic are absolutely amazing on. So starting off, a couple of things that we need to keep in mind, that this is not the usual comp that Optic go for. You can see that there is a difference in their comp. It is Victor playing the Raze, which is instead of the Neon that they usually used to play, which we've seen in the previous iterations of the Masters as well that they have played. They love playing the Neon on Split, but in this current matchup they went for the Raze, and they are facing off against a pretty olden setup, a very basic setup where they go for this the side of Guild go for the double Sentinel with the Cypher and the Sage comp, which was a pretty famous one that was available in the olden days of the meta. But clearly these guys have absolutely shown Optic that sticking to your roots is the best, and we're going to start off how Guild absolutely tear down Optic one by one with round number 4 where you can see that there's one particular thing that you need to keep in mind. That is this rectangular box system that is played by Guild. Now, this is something that they've done time and time again in multiple rounds, where they take B Heaven, mid region, and A Heaven to their control, and they leave the sites empty, and if at all, even if it is given away, they play on retake. Now, this is a very compact but a very useful, a dynamic system that they were implementing that helped them very well, and you're going to see how. Now, as you can see, Russ has already locked off the B Heaven side, and there's a smoke preventing it from Optic themselves, which has been put on by Marved, but it doesn't really matter because they're not going to attempt it right now. What is the most important part in this round is that there's 2 players of Optic pushing up towards B main, while 2 of them are going towards vents. Now, this is a usual thing for Optic to do, where they go towards vents. They allow Victor along with somebody to go in towards vents, but with the Neon it's far more effective. But with the Raze, they take a pretty slow approach, and it's given by Guild. Guild are ready for this because you can see that we've got 2 players here, Coldamenta and Trex, waiting for that jump down. So the problem here is Victor does go for this with Crashies, but he doesn't even check. He just directly jumps down, expecting that nobody's going to be there, and instantly double kill comes through. Now, it's a 3v5. The one thing that did happen here instantly before they jumped down was that Ye and Marved were actually already inside B site. They had control, and they could have called out to their teammates to, rotate. I think we got the B side empty, but no. They didn't, and they go for this lurk usually, which happens quite a bit, and Russ is already expecting this. He takes down Marv because they've let that B main side empty, and they played on the back of timing. They know that the minute that mid region is penetrated, they will push in from the other side. And even Ye going in towards spawn was also expected by Leo. And what a beautiful hold by the side of Guild. Last man left is FNS, of course, and there's only so much he can do. Goes up towards B, and he is going to be taken out by the players of Guild. And this compact play towards mid is what gave them a flawless round against an Optic team that was fully equipped to take this fight, but made very small certain mistakes. They went as a duo across 2 places, that was towards vents and towards B main, but the B main players could have actually changed the game if they had probably told them to rotate instantly. Instead, they dropped down, and Guild read this like a book. Absolutely took Optic down in this round. So the next round we're going to be talking about is round number 6. This is where Optic goes 6-0 up. Wow. So the next round we're going to be talking about is round number 6. This is where Guild goes 6-0 up, and this is an absolutely crazy round because one slow orb completely changes the game, and this is how they do it. Now, the one thing that, Guild are pretty great at doing, the minute they realize that Optic read into what they're doing, they change their system. They were playing a horizontal box towards the side, no. They were playing a compact box up towards mid with this rectangle, and the minute they know that Optic could read it, they change it up and they go for a box that is towards the entire side, where they let them come close to them, but they're spread across the defenses in every sense of the way, where they take over the site. They have a plan to defend it. But this is where things get interesting. You've got one slow orb still on Russ, which is going to be the game changer. The one slow orb that he's already deployed has been, dissipated. There's a wall that has bottlenecked Optic currently. There is one ultimate available on Victor, which is the showstopper, which is going to be a talking point. A flash from Crashies, and of course FNS's Hunt. Now, Hunt. Now, this is where things go very, very bad for Optic. Once the round begins, they're going to get ready for the flash, for the haunt, for everything to come through and to push in Victor with that showstopper. But Victor unfortunately hits the wall over here and he gets slowed by the slow orb. And during all of this, the rotation comes in through. Trex is still here and Leo's making his way towards A heaven. Now, in all of this, Optic still decide to go towards A with their full force commitment, and why this smoke comes up towards A heaven as well. So they are not contesting A ramp at all. That one smoke has prevented them completely. This one smoke right here was more than enough to keep Optic at bay from even entering towards heaven. And during all of this, while Victor's made himself available on the A side and given off as much sound cue as possible, that one slow orb has isolated the fight towards him. So Leo pops out of the smoke from heaven, finds that kill, and instantly, while it is traded, it's allowed Russ to go from elbow, find a timing and come to the back of side and set up the perfect crossfire with Trex, who is getting a spam kill through the smoke from his spawn, and Russ does the rest for his team. He's holding a perfect angle to keep them at bay, and FNS is the only one left. Gonna get spammed, gonna get taken out. It's just about, time that he just falls to prey to the three players who are on side. It's gonna be a absolute tear of a round from the side of Guild. They destroy Optic in a way that they did not expect. One slow orb isolates the fight with Victor, slows his movement down, and he himself actually hits the wall, which absolutely just stops their entire movement towards A. Nobody contested towards ramps. Nobody even decided to go there to maybe stop the play from coming in over there. And they all got bottlenecked because of that one wall and the push in towards A main only. So the next round we're going to be talking about is on number 19. Now, in the attack, Guild kind of did slip up a bit in the beginning. They were 8-4 up and they let Optic come back to 9-9. But here's where they started pushing the pedal to the metal. Now, you can see that almost half the round has gone by and they've got a double setup here, which is the spike being deployed towards B while there is a fake being sold towards A. Now, this fake is sold but not convincingly enough, but still Guild are able to adapt to the situation and work it to the best. This is how. Now, once the round begins, they've got a showstopper that's available on Trex. The cages from the Cypher come up, and so does the smoke from Coldamenta from the other side of the map. Now, here comes the showstopper after this grenade has been put up, and they're trying to sell this fake as best as they can, and it's almost tempting a rotate from Ye. He's thinking about it, and as soon as the showstopper comes in, he's thinking about coming here, but the ultimate that Crashies had left the entire second half just to counter Trex finally comes in use, but he will not find the kill. He gets away just about, and now the B attack comes in. Marved is going to be able to find one, but as an instant resource, they have Leo's ultimate available as well. Down goes the Rolling Thunder. Somewhere along the lines, they even thought that Victor could be here, so they see him and hold up for a bit so that the players on A could make a little bit of a difference. They went towards heaven. One trade comes in, but unfortunately, nobody had actually yet spotted where exactly Seth was. On the other side, we've got one man left, Coldamenta, who has his ultimate ready as well. A lot of ultimates in this round were deployed by the side of Guild as they were able to get away. And the minute he's stuck back into this corner, Ye knows that this is going to be a teleporter play and he gets back as soon as he can. But unfortunately for him, he doesn't know where the other player currently is. So he takes his time to come in, and in that time, it allows Saif to go in towards spawn and Coldamenta to come in towards ramp. Now they have a pretty good setup, which is actually what Optic would end up doing in their situations, which is the push and pull, the distraction method. Now, there's two possible things that could happen here. One is that the players from each side are going for a fight in, and that's exactly what happens. You can see that Ye is very close to a fight with Coldamenta. He's just holding a passive angle. He's not peeking out. And here, we've got another fight that's just going to happen between Saif and Mavd. So, the minute one of them is spotted, the other player is going to turn around to support him, and that's exactly what happens. But instead here, it's not going to be a spot. It's going to be a kill. And instantly, Ye decides to get away from that angle. It's the tiniest of timings, because if he had peeked a little wider, Coldamenta would have been available to him, maybe to kill. But he decides away, and he goes towards the side. The minute he's dropped down, Coldamenta makes his way towards Heavens, because he knows that his plant is for Heaven itself. He can spam down Ye. Ye tries to reconvene and maybe settle his aim to go up for that Heaven peak, but it's a little too late. And even if he had killed Coldamenta, Saif was already in elbow, ready to kill him off. A great adaptability game from the side of Guild. The fake was almost sold, but it anyway ended up working for them, because these players have got a very good in the moment, playability kind of a thing, and that clearly helps them a lot. Now, the next round we're going to be talking about is round number 24, the final round of regulation, where Guild are down by a round and they need to win this to push it to overtime. They had the advantage, but they let Optic get through them, and this is where they kind of shift up their play. So Guild are a team that usually goes for a little bit of a slow approach, but they've got some pretty fast-paced plays as well. The thing about Guild is, though, they like to make those fakes happen. They like those executes, like we just saw in the previous round, that they've waited out until the last couple of seconds to make it work for themselves. Last 20 seconds, where they're thinking to sell a fake, and it might be sold perfectly because it's the last 20 seconds, so nobody's going to expect it. But here, they shift up their play. They realize that Optic are not going to probably expect this, and that's exactly what happens. Now, we've got one very good ultimate available, that is Trex's ultimate, that is the Showstopper. And we've got Coldamenta's ultimate available as well. And Optic, like I said, were clearly not ready for this. So as soon as the round starts, they go up towards mid to try and find themselves a little bit of opening. And look at how quickly Trex goes up. Now, Trex is a very seasoned Raze player, whereas Victor is a little bit more comfortable on Neon, I would say. And while both the Showstoppers were popped, the one that Trex got was so quick to come towards mid, as we just saw, and he fires it right towards Victor, expecting that there's going to be somebody under Heaven to take it in. And he was right, because Victor jumped up himself thinking that he would still find Trex on the back end, and he finds himself dead. Instant 4v5 within the first 5 seconds of the round. The wall goes up, and with that, they've isolated the B side all for themselves. There's a smoke that came up here and a smoke that came up here, so that Coldamenta could get to the back of site, but they don't need it anymore for the spawn region, because that's where they plan to contest. They're okay with fighting towards spawn, and that's where Marv is waiting for them, as everybody jumps down from the side of B Heaven, and this fast execute helps them out. One trade does come in. Trex is able to find immediately the trade onto Marv, as now we've got a 3v4. One thing to be certain of is that Crashies has an ultimate ready. He throws in the knife now, and he will be able to find all 4 players. The instant response after this is that in these 7 seconds, Optic could potentially push in and find them absolutely naked with no abilities, and that could be a very detrimental situation. So what do they do instead? They say, okay, we're gonna find Crashies and we're gonna kill him, so we push him. They push him while Saif and Coldamenta take care of B Heaven, and Saif finds the last kill, Ye, who's just not been having the best of games, and we saw for the first time El Diablo in negative numbers. And it was very heartbreaking to see this, but the way that Guild absolutely maneuvered their way across that slow-paced game to instantly turn it up and still make it work, were ready to fight in towards spawn, and that one piece of advantage, that presence of mind to instantly fight towards spawn to take Crashies down, expecting them that he's going to be alone, because they saw the Fade utility coming from Heaven. They just pushed in, found that kill, and got through towards overtime. So the final round we're going to be talking about is round number 29, here's where Optic were going to try something different. They went towards mid to maybe work something out in terms of a mid to B split again, because they had found a kill very early on onto Coldamenta in B main, and Ye got a pretty quick kill on him, and instantly Optic were at an advantage. But Russ, being the man he is, absolutely just went for a kill out towards mid, peeked out and just got a kill through Victor's boombot, and that couldn't have been any more sadder than we know. Now, he makes his way back towards this side, but he's so slow up so that nobody could follow him, and that slows them down because they were about to rush into him. Now, because this has happened, the one thing that FNS does, he's got a trail, he sends back the Prowler to get it. The Prowler has been destroyed, and now Optic think, okay, we should probably go in. Russ realizes that his teammates are moving in towards A main as a group, so they've got control of what's going to happen that side. So he just decides, all right, I'm going to shut off A completely, and puts down a wall right there. And that is the best thing that he could have done, because now Optic completely just shut down. They think for quite a while as to what they can do. They're moving it back towards B heaven because they realize that A is not going to be an option for them unless that wall is instantly broken, or they take their time to, just work it out. But still, even though all of this is happening and they've gotten control of that A site, you can see that the one rotation has already come through, because A has been shut off by both angles, one by a wall and one by the players. And even Leo's made his way back by putting in the fault line over here. He's slowing down the Optic players as much as he can, and just such a good read from Guild over here. Now Optic decided, okay, you know what, we're going to try and fake something towards B, because there's last 45 seconds left. So they're banking about the fact that Ye can find some magic towards B main, but Guild are not at all interested in peeking. Look at how passive their stances are. They've got a player here who's probably going to play on the back of this player peeking out, or they're going to play towards B with a very, very, passive approach, playing towards spawn and B heaven spawn side as well. And this works out for them perfectly, because Optic do decide to send a fake here. They send out in utility, but they don't really, go on the back of it. They expect this fake to come through as the wall is being broken. Trex was about to rotate. He was ready to go in, and he almost made his way towards B. But the minute this wall was broken, he instantly comes back. Leo's been detected on side, and they realize that Leo's alone. He might get absolutely pummeled. So what does Trex do? He just runs in with his satchel across spawn and gives them a warning of movement itself. That's it. Now, Leo's trying to catch them off guard towards the side. He spams them, but the spike is actually going towards B. And now the one thing that they don't expect at this point is that there could be still a player at B who's holding them, and they instantly jump down towards him, which is Ye and Marved. Crashies is still towards A, trying to sell a fake, by the way, and it's the last 15 seconds of the round. They might need him, but the problem with this is that Russ has already taken out two players, and they jump down one by one. They don't double jump. They don't know that he's there, and he plays the perfect off angle. And that's exactly what's so brilliant about Guild. Their positioning, the way that they absolutely hold themselves in line. Crashies might have gotten a kill towards A, but it doesn't matter because the last 9 seconds left, and he knows that he had the Fade utility come in towards Heaven, so he just clears himself out from the B main side, because he's also got the Cypher tripwire here in case anybody decides to come in, and the camera spotting out for him as well. So he just hopes that the Fade is going to come towards him, and while FNS is able to take out Seth towards the side, towards the spawn side, he's got no time to plant. It's going to be Russ to clean it out, and that is how Guild absolutely tear apart Optic, and they are the perfect counter to Optic's push and pull technique, which honestly did not come in handy at all, because Guild actually did a bit of push and pull themselves and have taken out the previous master champions.